Grazzi li qed issegwu il-programm Sinjuri sa nibqgħu bil-ġrajiet kurrenti u sa nintaqgħu ma' kandidata ġdida għall Partit Nazzjonalista Miriana Testaferrata Calleja di Noto. Miriana hija żagħżugħa u sa tkellimna bil-lingwa Ingliża biex inleħqu il-messaġġ lil dawk li jippreferu il-lingwa Ingliża u li ma jitkellmux bil-Malti. Jekk tixtiequ taraw aktar intervisti mal-kandidati anki ma' Miriana bil-Malti tistgħu issegwu Net Live ma' Robert Cremona. Thank you very much, Miriana, for coming to meet with us today and for giving us the opportunity to get to know you a little bit more.
You're very welcome. I'm honestly enjoying this. It's a way to reach out to more people and get to know us a bit more.
Yes, and perhaps we can start by speaking about the language we're using, the English language. We're doing it to reach out to more people.
Yes, I believe that obviously we need to reach out to as many people as possible. This is an election that it's an international election. Realistically, it's a European election, and once elected, we're going to be speaking to a lot of people from different countries. Obviously, Maltese is a national language, and it is a language that is recognized in the EU. So whoever is elected to the European Parliament can speak Maltese. However, I feel that it can also be a good opportunity to let the people in Malta that do not speak Maltese but they do have a vote to know what they're voting for. A very hectic time at the moment. It's a few weeks before the election, but I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm getting to know a lot of people, a lot of new people. I'm getting to learn a lot from these people, and it's an opportunity to, even in the future, I know that the skills that I am getting now, I can use them in the future. So it's a very nice experience.
You're the youngest member from the Nationalist Party team, and would you share with our viewers something about your background?
Okay, so I'm 28 years old, the youngest candidate from the Nationalist Party, and I'm a lawyer by profession, and I also have a background of European studies. I have a degree in European studies, which is where I started honestly loving European politics, and then I started getting involved in politics. It's something I really love, and especially since I am the youngest candidate, I'm trying to reach out to more youths. Unfortunately, a lot of youths do not feel comfortable voting to a political party. But when there's something that they truly believe in, they make their voices heard, and this is something that I learned a lot. And so I believe that everyone should be able to make an informed decision and vote according to that informed decision. And so this is why I'm trying to reach out to as many youths and as many people as possible to obviously help them learn about what I can offer them, and hopefully on the 8th of June they would be able to go and vote, if not for me, at least for the candidates of the Nationalist Party according to their values and their beliefs as well.
What do you say to people who usually vote and perhaps are reluctant this time around?
Yes, so this is a problem that unfortunately we're facing this problem quite a lot at the moment.
A lack of enthusiasm?
Yes, and realistically, as I said, people do want change or do want to help out in this change, but they perhaps do not feel like they can be the one to bring change with their vote, as if one vote is not going to change anything. But realistically, it is going to change. I believe that voting is not only our right, but also our duty. It needs to be an informed decision. So it's not just about voting, it's about voting for people who can bring the change that we need. And when people tell me that they do not want to vote, what I always tell them is, do not let other people choose for you, basically. And it's something that realistically, if they're not going to vote, nothing is going to change. But if they make their voices heard, things can slowly start moving forward.
I'd like to focus a bit on democracy. How important is it to have a strong opposition party in any country?
Yes, it is very important, and especially in Malta, we have a two-party system, two parties in parliament. Obviously, the party in government is governing Malta, but the opposition has a very important voice, an important job to do. When there is an issue going around in the country, when we need to oppose something coming from the government, maybe anything, it is when the opposition needs to work, make their voices heard, and maybe if it involves a protest, people would go out and protest. So there are many different ways to actually bring change, but the opposition is definitely one of the parties who can make this happen.
I'd like to speak a bit about Gozo and your connection with Gozo.
Yes, so I loved Gozo since a very young age. We always used to go to Gozo. It was our holiday as a family. In recent times, around 2 years ago, I moved to Gozo. I used to live in Vgura, and now 3 years ago I moved to Gozo. I honestly love the place. It's very different from what we have in Malta. Many Maltese people find Gozo to be a place where they can go and have their own vacation there, a small vacation away from their homes. Unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, Gozo is the home of many Gozitans, obviously. Although I can't understand all problems that Gozitans face on their daily lives, some of the problems that they face, I can actually understand now. When I'm going there just for a small vacation, it's one thing, but when Gozo is your home, when we see how difficult it is for Gozitans to travel around, to come to Malta and go back to Gozo daily or weekly, the long queues that we have when they're waiting for the Gozo channel to go back. Obviously, when something happens and they're taking hours to go back to Gozo, they can't go back to their home. And that is something quite difficult. Obviously, your home is the place where you go at the end of the day to rest and get ready for another day. But yes, Gozo is a place very, very close to my heart. And I got to know quite a lot of people from Gozo, and honestly, they've become my biggest friends at this point. So I'm very grateful for my decision around 4 years ago now.
So you're saying that connectivity is a problem. How would you tackle this issue should you be elected to the European Parliament?
So obviously, when I'm speaking of Malta, when I'm speaking about Malta in general, from an EU perspective, one problem that we have in Malta is that because we're an island, we have very different characteristics from the other member states. And obviously we're very small, so that is another factor. Gozo is the same thing. Obviously there is the lack of connectivity, lack of jobs there, so it might be very difficult for Gozitans themselves to find a job in their home country, realistically. But I find that a lot of Gozitans do not mind having to come to Malta every single day for their work. What they do mind, and it's very obvious, is when it takes hours of waiting. And so this is something that I believe we should really tackle. Recently, we've seen a lot of queues because we had one of the vessels not working. So obviously, that is something that I feel like we should work on. We need to increase the number of vessels. Other than that, how frequent the vessels would be, how frequent the Gozo channel would be in this case.
Miriana, tomorrow is May Day, and it's a celebration for workers all over the world. How important is it for you?
It's obviously a very important day for all the Maltese, for all the people. If we think about what workers do to our country on the daily, I believe that it is something that we should always cherish and always remember the good that they do, obviously, everyone does, to this country in the end. Unfortunately, in recent times, our government has not been focusing so much on the workers, when realistically the workers are the core of our society.
What are the issues that are important to you should you be elected as a Member of Parliament?
Okay, so obviously there are many different issues that must be tackled, but the main three that I am focusing on right now in my campaign are the environment and especially sustainable development, youths, and mental health. These three things, they go hand in hand in a way, but they're very important on their own as well. As I was speaking beforehand, youths are not only the future, but they're also the now. And we need to help our youths gain a voice. Sometimes, even when youths would want to be active and speak out about certain issues and bring about change, they don't find the chance to do it. And this is why I am doing what I'm doing, honestly, to help youths gain a voice.
Do you believe that we've got a brain drain in Malta?
Yes and no, we do. But at the same time, I do believe that a lot of people want to bring about change and want to make their voices heard. Just there are not enough opportunities for them.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about the environment. What are your thoughts on the sea that surrounds us?
I believe that in Malta, especially since we're an island, the sea is a very important means to us. In recent times also, we've seen people speaking about how we can make our sea as a way to travel as well, which is a very good opportunity even to travel from one place to another on the Maltese islands. A very, very big issue in Malta definitely is the traffic. And we have means to travel around even using our sea. And that is something that I believe we should use up as much as possible. However, as I was mentioning even beforehand, the fact that we're an island surrounded by sea makes it a little more difficult for us as a country in the European Union even to have our imports and exports. Obviously, it is an added cost, basically. So there are many advantages to it, but we need to tackle it in a wise manner, basically.
You spoke also about mental health. Unfortunately, there's still a big stigma on mental health. How do you think we can move forward to people being more open? I mean, when somebody is physically ill, they go to a doctor. But when somebody is mentally ill, there are people who refrain from doing so, and there are also people who close up with their co-workers. Sometimes their co-workers also don't understand that they have a problem. Why is there such a stigma, and do you think it can change eventually?
Yes, so mental health, as I was saying, is a subject that is very, very close to my heart. And unfortunately, so many people go through mental struggles daily. Statistics show that 1 in 4 people at some point in their life go through a mental health struggle. And therefore, if it is not you, it is definitely someone you know or a family member. Unfortunately, as the stigma is still there, there is awareness. We have awareness nowadays, but it is never enough. Some people find it difficult to speak out when they're going through a problem. Firstly, sometimes it is difficult to accept that you have a problem, and that is also stigma. As you were mentioning, when someone is physically ill, they go to a doctor. Mental health is just as important, if not more, but it does not show. So when you're going through a struggle, a lot of people around you are not going to realize that you're going through something. And I always say, just as we go to a doctor for a checkup once in a while, we should do the same for our mind and our mental health. So it is something.
But I think not everyone can afford to go for a checkup when they've got nothing wrong with them, or when they have other expenses. that are more important to them in their eyes.
Yes, unfortunately, since it's something that is not visible, a lot of people do not think that it is as important as it really is. But other than that, I believe that we need to make mental health and mental help about mental health more accessible. So yes, sometimes it can be a bit expensive to go through private clinics and so. And however, a lot of people, even people who are studying to work in this field, find themselves discouraged from working with the government because of lack of funding, lack of opportunities. So it is something that needs to be tackled even internally before we manage to reduce the stigma and continue to increase the awareness around it.
How can Europe help with that, for example?
Europe does help, but I believe that we need more help when it comes to mental health. Mental health is something that I believe in Malta we need to tackle as fast as possible, because in its own way it can get to a crisis, but it's something that throughout the whole European Union it needs to be tackled more. Obviously Europe, the European Union, one thing that it really helps us as member state is through funding, and that is one way that the European Union can help us. Other than that, through policies maybe, or any discussion really. The way that the European Union works is through lobbying, the way that the European Parliament works. And so I believe that if Europe manages to agree on how important mental health is, we can move forward drastically throughout the whole European Union.
Tomorrow is an important day for the Nationalist Party because the campaign is officially launched on the 1st of May. Can we share with our viewers something about what we're to expect tomorrow?
Yes, so tomorrow is our launch day, but also the 20-year anniversary since Malta joined the European Union. And so it's a very important day for us. The 1st of May is always an important day commemorating this is very important anniversary. But tomorrow, as it would be our launch day, our candidate launch, we should have a very nice activity where people can come with their families and enjoy their day out. They can meet us. As I always say, it's very, very important. I was mentioning an informed decision beforehand. It's very important to get to know your candidates. In Malta, we have an amazing opportunity because of our size. It's a good and a bad thing, realistically.
You're very accessible, really,
yes.
Because of the distances.
Yes, we only have 6 MEPs, unfortunately, considering other places, they're much bigger than us and they have so many more. But at the same time, we're very accessible, as you were saying. So it's a nice opportunity to get to know your candidates, to know what you're voting for, and to enjoy your day with your family as well.
How important is the 3rd seat for the Nationalist Party?
It's very important, to put it bluntly, as I was saying, 6 seats at the European Parliament level. The European Parliament is the only European institution where people, the citizens of the European Union, get to elect their representatives, and thus we need to vote according to what's right for us as an individual and also for our member states. At the moment, we only have 2 MEPs. One of them is, in fact, the President of the European Parliament, which is a big honor for us. With just 2 MEPs, we managed in the last 5 years to do a lot for Malta and the Maltese. So imagine if there is just 1 other seat. We can do so much more.
Miriana, thank you for joining our program today. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much.
I know we're going to meet you very soon again during this program.
European parliamentary elections are only a few weeks away. You can bring about change when you go and vote. I honestly believe that it is not only our right to vote, but also our duty. It is important to make an informed decision, to get to know all candidates and to know what you're voting for. 20 years ago, Malta joined the European Union and we gained a very important voice together with much bigger member states. By voting on the 8th of June, you would be helping out all the Maltese, helping out making Malta an even stronger country and obviously making your voice heard on the day.
Sinjuri, kont qed nitkellem ma' kandidata ġdida tal-Partit Nazzjonalista, Miriana Testaferrata Calleja di Noto. Inħeġġiġkom li fit-8 ta' Ġunju toħorġu tivvutaw għal kandidati kollha fuq it-tikketta tal-Partit Nazzjonalista għal l-elezzjonijiet Ewropew u l-elezzjonijiet lokali. Jekk għandkom bżonn xi informazzjoni tridu tibatu, xi kummenti ibatuhom permezz tal-WhatsApp fuq in-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin. Dik l-intervista saret bil-lingwa Ingliża biex inleħqu l-messaġġ lil dawk li jippreferu l-lingwa Ingliża u lil dawk li ma jifhmux bil-Malti. Jekk tixtiequ taraw aktar intervisti mal-kandidati bil-Malti, segwu NetLive ma' Robert Cremona. Jiena Hogg għal Net TV.